welcome. You are with me, Rika Roy and Osama Shah. We have our three experts, former India cricketers, Ashok Malhotra, Abhishek Nair, and Ritendra Singh Sodhi, talking to us, and we are going to be previewing the India-Pakistan game. At the moment, I'll tell you, Osama, what I did this morning. I was at the ground when the last India-Pakistan match happened in Melbourne, and we were all, going gaga over that SWAT flick. The little piece of trivia I can give you here is I actually framed that scorecard and put it up on the wall today. Abhishek, how are you looking ahead to the match? That's my way of tributing a match that I will forever remember.
Well, you're talking about the match tomorrow. If I can be absolutely honest, a little nervous because it's really hard to, predict what this Pakistan team is going to do. Normally, when they're doing really well, you can expect them to fail. But when they fail, they have a tendency of bouncing back as well. So a little nervous, but I'm also excited because, the conditions are another thing that I feel is going to challenge both teams. Just knowing that Pakistan's going to come in with their 4 fast bowlers against the top Indian attack, it's going to be exciting. But, as every Indian fan, you have that scorecard. I've got a lot of hope and a little bit of anxiousness that hopefully we can close this game out and then for surety enter that Super 6.
Okay, we have 2 men in blue and 1 man in green. Let me go over to the man in green. Ashok Malhotra, tell us, what do you think? Is it a desperate Pakistan side and hence dangerous, or is it a dummy Pakistan side? Who are we looking at here?
See, it is a desperate Pakistan side, but the desperation is only if you have the talent in your side. You talk about their batters. They are sloggers. They're not a Babar Azam. We hear so much about him, but I don't see him performing when the chips are down. A good player is a great player is somebody like Virat Kohli is. When chips are down, you are there. But he's never there. Whenever Pakistan needs Babar Azam, particularly in a World Cup game, he's never around. And somewhere, even their bowlers, I know they are big names. I would say they are a bit overrated. Be it Shaheen Shah Afridi, be it Mohammad Amir, be it
that's a huge statement, by the way.
but the fact is, they don't deliver when the chips are down. Great players are when they deliver, when the team needs them. That is the undoing of this Pakistan team. Our era, those Pakistan players were always performing when the chips were down, when they needed them. But this Pakistan team, I would say they're a bit overrated, especially Babar Azam. You can't compare him with Virat Kohli. He can't tie Virat Kohli's shoelaces.
Right.
Oh, wow.
This is a huge statement.
We don't have a Pakistan expert on the panel.
But I also want to talk about the hype.
Although I'm wearing Pakistani colors, but
that's why I asked you whether it's.
But I also want to talk about the hype that an India-Pakistan encounter generates, and a lot of people call it the biggest rivalry in the world of cricket. And some people would say that it's not. It's actually Bangladesh versus Sri Lanka. But let's be honest about it. No, I'm just saying. But let's be honest about it. The kind of emotion that an India-Pakistan encounter it generates, it is. You cannot compare it with any other 2 encounters. And this is what I personally feel. And we have been discussing this. Ritendra, do you feel that the kind of hype an India-Pakistan match needs, it's missing somewhat in this particular tournament right now?
Yeah, we can say that at the moment, but I feel when India-Pakistan take on each other head-on tomorrow, the euphoria, the magnitude, everything will come back. And talking about, as Ashoki Paji said, look, we were doing the morning show, Hindi show, and I said that India will be having their nose ahead, but Ashoki Paji said that India will be having their neck ahead, everything ahead in this game. So that is because at this moment, Pakistan is struggling. It is not the team of yesteryears. This team lacks in batting. Their fielding seems clueless. Their bowling is here and there. So India has a big chance. If we play to our potential, there's no chance for Pakistan tomorrow. Though uncertainty is the glory of this game, we have to wait till the result comes. But as for now, India has a big chance, and it should be an easy game for India.
Ritendra talks about uncertainty, and there is something that is really uncertain at this point is how the pitch is going to behave.
Right. Abhishek, do you think that, despite India being in a pole position, would you say the pitch somewhat gives this game a neutrality? Because we don't know how is the pitch going to act up and whether we will have all, 40 overs of play or not.
And before Abhishek answers this, I just want to add this one point. The ICC, they came out with a statement after a couple of initial matches, and they say and very categorically mention this, that T20 and ICC recognize that the pitches used so far at the Nassau County International Cricket Stadium have not played as consistently as we would have all wanted.
Well, I think after watching last evening's game with Canada and Ireland, I don't think the pitch has improved a lot because it was a low-scoring encounter. 138 was easily defended by Canada. So I think somewhere, yes. In general, this T20 format is such a format that you just require one or two players to turn up on that particular day to get a result in your favor. So I feel, yes, the conditions are really important. I said this in the morning show as well. For me, the toss is going to be critical because anyone bowling first is going to get a bit of purchase in that pitch. And somewhere, the advantage is with India because they've already played in New York once before. Pakistan hasn't played there yet. They played in better conditions, wherein, the pitch was coming onto the bat and there were much better playing conditions, but couldn't, overturn the almighty USA, so that, if I can say that. But I feel in every regard in a T20 game, you just need to understand that toss tomorrow is going to be critical for India to win, because with the Pakistani seamers, I say this again, their batting may not be their strong suit, but their bowling is. So if they get those conditions that can assist them, the game can be an interesting one.
Should we call it an H1 block for Pakistan?
No, what according to you is the reason for the pitch not playing the way it should be? It is because we have been talking about it a lot, and from what I can understand is that this particular pitch was laid very recently, and the bedding in period that a pitch requires, that time wasn't really given to that particular pitch. Ashokji, do you feel that is one of the reasons why these pitches are playing the way they are right now?
See, it's a drop-down pitch. Probably it is not ready. And the way it has played, it is not conducive for T20 cricket. I really feel sorry for the batters who have to bat on this kind of a pitch. I understand it is not an IPL where they were hitting bowlers all around the park. It is a pitch which is more tailor-made for the bowlers. But the fact is, it is survival of the fittest. Survival of when the going gets tough gets going. That is why I'm putting my money on India. One, I am an Indian. Two, because Indian batters are technical, much better than Pakistani batters. Who don't have the technique. They want to go after the bowling. For that, they need flat wickets, which they're not going to get in New York. And I would rate my Indian bowlers maybe they're next ahead of Pakistani bowlers. I might be overreacting, but the fact is, one, I'm an Indian. Two, they have lost 6 games. Against India, they won only 1 game in World Cup. So I don't see Pakistan going through this, although India-Pakistan game is always a blockbuster.
Now, this is a question I have for all three of you. The way the pitch has played out, it's a strip from Adelaide that ICC has decided to experiment with. Had it been in any other part of the world, say Antigua or Eden Gardens, would you say that the stadium would have got, there would have been a demerit point? ICC would have come in and put sanctions. And because this is an ICC tournament, ICC's experiment, that, there is no sanction on the Nassau County. Ashokji, I think you can take it and then we'll go to Ritendra.
See, ICC can't put sanctions on themselves. If it would have been India, believe you me, the sanctions would have been there. People would have been jumping up and down on their seats. This is not a wicket, this is a tailor-made wicket, all kind of noises. But the fact is, this wicket was laid by ICC. So the blame lies on their doorsteps. And how will they take the blame, or will they pass the buck. We'll wait and see. But the fact is, they made a mistake. Dallas is a good wicket, but New York is a no.
Abhishek, what do you have to say?
I think if you just look at it, technically, you look at New York. New York is not a full-time stadium. They've sort of built this stadium, which is why the outfield is very slow, and they've had limited time doing it. What happens in drop-in pitches also is the soil around and the soil around has to adapt to the drop-in pitch as well. So a lot of times, what happens when you have these drop-in pitches, but the soil around it doesn't adapt, it doesn't get well binded, and that's what happens. So a lot of times, if you're getting it from Adelaide, it may suit that weather, it may suit those conditions and the soil around, and when you water it, the soil is the water is retained well. But sometimes when you have drop-in pitches in places like the US and the conditions are overcast, you're going to have damp pitches. I mean, just from the outside, if you look at both pitches, Dallas and New York, they look very similar, but they play very differently, which tells you that there's too much moisture underneath the pitch, and it's hard. It's not easy to put up a stadium, then come up with a pitch. Somewhere during this whole IPL, there was so much talk about they're scoring double hundreds, a team has scored triple hundreds. The bowlers and fans around will be breathing a sigh of relief, saying that there's something for us as well. Let the batters struggle for a bit. So I'm not sure if it's a good or bad thing, but hopefully it gets better.
But I would put in a word. It is an Australian pitch made for English conditions. That is all I can say. It is made in Australia, but for English conditions.
Ritendra, let's have a comment from you on this as well.
Look, the Abhishek has put in, it might get better, but again, I have a very strong feeling it won't get better. You are playing World Cup on these pitches now, and you have to be in that mindset. There might not be fours and sixes the way we have in IPL. So it's the test of character. It's the test of your technique. It's the test of your courage. You have to win matches by scoring 140 odd runs. There might not be 250, 300 on board. So that is where a team has to prepare the way the pitches are. So Rohit Sharma, at this point, we'll be thinking how we are going to face Shaheen Afridi, highest Roff, but not about the pitches, because if we go into that think mode, then it might backfire to any of the teams. If you talk about New Zealand, they were struggling big time. Now India has a big game tomorrow. So I have a strong feeling if India bats first tomorrow, 130, 140 can be a winning score. Fingers crossed, but for that 130 for 140 on these drop-in pitches, you've got to really put your head down and work hard and show a resilience technique.
Imagine after the
to you, then again, Ritendra, you said Rohit Sharma must be thinking about playing Shaheen Afridi now. So would you say Shaheen Afridi versus Indian openers Rohit and Virat will be one of the key contests to watch out for in this game?
Yes, Rika, definitely yes, because you're right. They bank on their bowlers too much, and on these pitches, they might be, breathing bit easy that they can get in Rohit Sharma, they can get in Virat Kohli. But these two guys, they have the best technique in the world. And Abhishek knows, Ashok Paji knows, if we have Rohit Sharma batting, he can adapt so well. He's the one who can really push up the scoring rate, but he's the one who can stay at the crease and play the sheet anchor role. So in that case, we have upper hand.
Abhishek, are we really looking at Rohit Sharma playing a sheet anchor role here? It's T20 World Cup. And is sheet anchor role what we are looking at?
I think it's going to be highly unlikely. If you look at how the Indian batters batted, I just felt through and through they've had the intent. I don't think they're going to change that a lot, because even in tough conditions, it's really important to still have the intent of scoring runs. Your shot making may be different, but the thought process is always about, scoring the runs and making sure you have runs on board. So I feel in that regard, not a lot is going to change, especially when you have Shaheen Shah Afridi, you've got Mohammad Amir, both bringing the ball back in, trying to go full. You're going to see them attack. You've Virat Kohli, who's got 600 odd runs in the IPL in top form, is going to come and attack. I don't think the Indians are going to change a lot. Yes, they may have to adapt based on what happens in the first 6 overs, but I think the first 6 overs are going to be positive till they lose a few wickets. And if that happens, then they may sort of, restructure their strategy. But my outlook and my understanding is that India is going to continue to be positive like they have been in the ODI World Cup, and not try and think of what they're going to get, but try and think of how much they can get regardless of the attack they are against.
But the funny thing is that after the IPL, We are talking about a save score that is 130, 140. It is amazing. The kind of conversations that people have around what a good score can be and should be. It just varies, and you have to throw it out of the window because you never know what you're going to encounter in terms of pitches, in terms of the stadium, etc. But I also want to get a sense of Pakistan's cricket team and their captain. I mean, there has been a lot of questions on the kind of decisions that he made during that game against the United States. What did you make of it, Ashok Malhotra? First to you, what did you make of his decisions, and how do you see his captaincy? Because there have been a lot of conversations around his captaincy. Went to Shaheen Afridi, then came back to him. How do you look at the whole thing?
See, it's a musical chairs in Pakistan. There's no consistency in the technique. You know, if Babar Azam, they have decided on Babar Azam, then stick with it. You know, you go to Shaheen Afridi and then come back to Babar Azam, then putting pressure on Babar Azam. You know, because now he has to deliver, because he's been given the captaincy once again. But the fact is, you know, when you talk about techniques, their batsmen, they struggle with their techniques, except for Rizwan and Babar Azam to a certain extent. Other guys are, you know, they go-getters. You know, I was hearing Abhishek, you know, he's spoken like a true T20 coach, you know, but I think when the going gets tough, you need a Cheteshwar Pujara in these kind of conditions. And you can't keep going after
get Cheteshwar back into the team.
You know, you can't keep going after the bowling. They'll have to nominate somebody who will play a role of a sheet anchor. You know, maybe Virat has to change his game. He might have to play a bit differently because the wickets are different. You know, on IPL, he had different style of play. But maybe here, one guy has to play a role of a sheet anchor. Around him, the rest of the batters can go after the ball.
I think Ritendra has a comment.
Ritendra wanted to say something. Yes.
I just want to carry this point forward. As Abhishek said, playing with that intent of positive cricket. Yeah, that's very right. That's the way Indian team has played. But it has to be horses or courses. And as Ashoki Paji said, look, we have the best technical players in our team is Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma. You would not want them to be in the dugout in the first six, and then we are having Hardik Pandya, Surya Kumar Yadav seeing in the new ball. That is where India can falter. So maybe the plan can be, okay, fine, 6 overs, take it easy. Let's take the game forward. Let's be easy. Let's not throw away those wickets while looking for big runs. So that can be strategy. But again, it really depends on the team, how they're thinking on that day. We might have a better pitch tomorrow, the way it has been playing till now. So that we will see tomorrow. But yes, India has to show aggression, but with caution.
Right.
Talking about, you know, Babar Azam, Abhishek, you've been coaching in the T20 circuit for a while. How do you assess him as a T20 player? You know, from his scores, from the way he's played across the globe, he has a lot of spunk. But purely as a T20 cricketer, how would you rate him?
Well, I think I truly believe he's still understanding how to, you know, get his head around this format, because a lot of times when you think about a T20 format, and especially for a player like Babar Azam, who people talk about in terms of being a very technically astute cricketer, a lot of times T20 is not so much about your technique, and it's not about how aggressive you are, but it's about how tactical you are with your technique. So I feel that is where Babar Azam is sort of falling short. When I say that, to explain that in detail, it's more about how you use the crease, how you use your feet, you know, how are you tactically against a certain bowler, and how you're going to get runs without actually playing a big shot. You still end up playing a cover drive or a square cut or a flick shot, those normal shots, but you just understand it, how you're going to put the bowler off. So, you know, sometimes using your feet, going deep in your crease, I feel those are things you don't see with him. He's more like waiting for the bad ball, which is more traditional cricket, where only if you bowl a bad ball or the conditions are really good is when he can score runs. So I feel he's still not evolved into an all-and-out T20 cricketer, which is why I feel these conditions should actually suit him if he's tactically correct. But I think he's still got a long way to go in terms of T20 cricket, and I'm sure he understands that as well, because in the last game against the USA, the strike rate at which he batted, you know, at one point he was around 8 in around 25 balls. No matter how good a bad cricketer you are, or how technically strong you are, or how much you've accomplished, that's never on. That's never on as a captain. Even if you've lost 5 wickets, even if you lost 7 wickets, you need to be at least at 90 as a strike rate. So I feel If you're going down to 30, 40, it just tells you that somewhere there's a lot of lack of belief in your own skills as of now.
And that
Abhishek, just one question to follow up. Abhishek, how much change then do you think Gary Kirsten can make to this side? Because what you just said, a lot of it looks like lack of, good support in terms of coaching, understanding your game, and tailoring your game to different formats. So when, cut to the Gary Kirsten era, when Gary Kirsten comes in, what are the changes do you see him bringing in?
I think it's really hard, to be honest, and to be in place of Gary. I was watching the game, and very, very rarely do you see a Gary Kirsten agitated. And you could see a lot of confusion in the dugout, even before the super over, who's going to come out to bat or sending information. It's not something you associate with Gary Kirsten. So from my point of view, I always believe for a coach who just entered a system, you first need to get and gain the cricketer's trust. It's not going to be easy for him to go and tell Babar Azam, go and do this tomorrow, because he won't. He's going to trust what he's done for a long period of time, whatever he's prepared coming into the World Cup. I think the only thing Gary Kirsten can do is inflict a lot of self-belief in the players and make sure there's harmony. Because, seeing Babar Azam's reaction to the last ball that Haris Rauf bowled when he hit him for 4 is not the reaction you want to see in the dressing room. His statements in the press conference are not the statements that are going to reiterate confidence in the dressing room. So I feel what Gary Kirsten is going to be focusing is not so much skill, but it's about making sure there's harmony. There is a motivated bunch of cricketers who can turn up on the big stage and not looking at left, right, or center, but there is a little self-belief in each and every individual. So it's more man management right now for Gary Kirsten, and he has his task cut out, because it's not going to be easy in a must-win game for them.
And it's never easy managing a team like Pakistan. It temperaments, a lot of infighting, a lot of turmoil within the cricket board, etc. And that is something that rubs on to the players as well, and their performance gets hampered. As a coach yourself, Abhishek, what would your message be to a team? If, say, for example, you were managing a team like Pakistan, what would your message be to them?
I think the first thing you need to do is get the guys together. It needs to be a close-knit group, especially the leadership group. Let them thrash it out. Like I say, have a conversation about what are the things that are going on, because there are always going to be these undercurrents. About what people think, what people are saying. People have problems with certain attitudes. I feel it's really important to have that open-ended communication amongst the leadership group, because that is where the messaging stems down from. And then it's more about, at that point of time, understanding whether there is believability in the group, if they can beat India or not. So somewhere there has to be a lot of dialogue and communication and open communication, wherein it's not so much about you do this or you do that, but it's about how you are feeling and whether you feel you stand today. And being vulnerable in whatever you are, I feel that is really important for a team, especially an emotional team. India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, we're emotional human beings. So it's really important to let the guys emote, to let it out, and then start with a clean slate, understanding that no matter what happens, even if results don't go our way, we've set on to this process where we don't react poorly, we don't say poor things, and we show belief in each other. I think that is the attitude and mantra that I'm pretty sure Gary Kirsten and what is required for this Pakistan team right now.
I also want to touch upon the roles of Rishabh Pant and Hardik Pandya in this particular team. Their inclusion in this team, especially with Hardik Pandya, a lot of questions were raised because of his form in the IPL and the way he reacted during the IPL. How do you see him in this particular team, in this particular setup as an all-rounder? Do you see?
And also, it would have been very easy for Hardik Pandya to be swayed by the negative emotions, all the negativity around him that happened during the IPL. But come the World Cup, you've seen him in a different avatar.
Yeah, but it's just one match. But I also just want to understand.
No, even the warm-up against Bangladesh, he played well.
I mean, Bangladesh.
Yeah, but still.
I like that, Bangladesh. I love that.
But Jitendra,
you're being a Sehwag that way.
I mean, see, when you have teams like Pakistan and Australia and England, and we know the kind of level and the level of cricket that is being played with respect to Bangladesh team. I don't think they're up there at this moment, and is the reason why I wouldn't rate them as highly as the other teams. I would rather rate Afghanistan.
Osama, be aware.
No. I would rather
It's
rate
USA who has
I understand.
upset Pakistan.
I understand, but I would rather rate Afghanistan much higher than
Afghanistan for
Bangladesh.
sure is.
Yeah.
Sorry,
but
we digress.
Ritendra, I want to understand his role, Hardik Pandya's role, and the way he has performed in the last two matches, including the warm-up match. How do you rate him in this particular setup, and what do you make of that performance?
Look, we have to agree that he has been struggling. We talk about IPL days. He was far away from his form, what we know, and he's an all-rounder. He has to win us games on his bowling and batting. But I have a strong feeling he's a big player. He's a big match player. At times, a few players who are top-notch players, they rise in respect to the occasion, and this is the World Cup. And I firmly believe if India is winning this World Cup, Rohit Sharma is the key, Virat Kohli is the key, Bumrah has to perform well, and Hardik Pandya has to play that pivotal role, because these drop in wickets, you don't know. You can't expect all from Virat Kohli or Rohit Sharma, one ball climbing up to the shoulder and get Virat or Rohit. Then who takes the responsibility? It has to be Hardik Pandya, Rishabh Pant. And that is where Hardik's role is the key. Fingers crossed, I'm sure that he will hit big form tomorrow.
Ashokji, in probably 9 months' time, I wasn't ready for another World Cup after the November 19th heartbreak.
Let's not talk about it.
But wait, my question is different. My question is about Rishabh Pant. Do you think that, that's one of the few reasons why Indian fans should once again start hoping about an India win, him having come back, and the way he has come back, not just having come back, but the way he has come back?
First and foremost, I have really liked the way they put him at number 3. That's a good strategy. He's a left-hander, and he can take the fight to the opposition, especially take advantage of the power plays, the kind of wickets are if the early wicket falls. And he improvises. The way he plays, you can't set a field for him. I think that was very, very good thinking. And we never expected him to bounce back so quickly, come back from injury. So none of us did. But the way he has bounced back, he's looking like a new Rishabh. I wouldn't say an old Rishabh, because he's looking slimmer, he's looking quicker, and even his field wicket keeping seems to have improved by leaps and bounds. So all in all, a wonderful player. And as you very rightly said, Ricky said, Hardik will be a force to reckon with. So will be Rishabh Pant, because these two are, the guys who might bring the World Cup home. Which we won in 2007 when nobody wanted to win the World Cup. That is when we won it. Because and I have one small thing to say. Gary Custom we were talking about. We had him on his shoulders when we won 2011. But do you remember where Lalchand Rajput was in that hurdle? I didn't see him.
2007.
That is what happens. We have a fascination for foreign coaches and really ill-treat our own coaches.
Abhishek, staying with
basically, we are not getting. Yeah, so basically, we are not getting a foreign coach.
No. We should be vouching for Abhishek Nair to be next India coach in few years from now.
Could be. I know he's an Indian guy, and we should all vouch for him.
Yeah.
They're all behind you, Abhishek.
We will actually have to talk about coaches and how things play out in the next few days. But Abhishek, coming back to the topic of Rishabh Pant, number 3, that's the right spot for him to bat in this World Cup.
Well, I think it's a masterstroke, to be honest, to have Rishabh there. Like Ashok sir said, that a lot of times what happens with players like Rishabh Pant is the mindset of clearing the 30-yard circle compared to the mindset of clearing a 75-yard boundary is completely different, because then you can hold your shape, which is slightly technical, can hold your shape better. You don't necessarily try and do anything fancy. All you have to beat is the 30-yard circle, and that just makes it lethal. yes, there's a left-hand, right-hand combination to it, but you also see that Rishabh Pant plays very different areas from a Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, which is why someone like him will really complement this Indian setup. He loves playing to fine leg. He plays the pickup shot really well, uses his feet against spin. No team can bowl left-arm spin in the power play when Rishabh Pant is batting. So it nullifies a lot of aspects just in terms of how this team sets up. Also, it makes it accommodates Shivam Dubey in the middle, which means you have 3 left-handers with Akshar Patel playing 4 left-handers, which we always know in cricket, sometimes left is right. So a lot of times I just believe Rishabh Pant being in the power play becomes really decisive to how India's fortunes go in the future, because it gives a lot of leeway to India to sort of experiment with their batting, but also it negates a lot of plans that the oppositions can have against India.
That is very true. And the fact that Rishabh Pant, there were a lot of questions on whether Rishabh Pant will bounce back the way that he has, but he has not just done that. He has literally he's back to his old self, playing shots that nobody else can play. And the only thing that I feel is missing at this point of time is him singing the Spider-Man song from behind the stumps. So that's the only thing that is missing at this point of time.
Well, we don't know how many other things are missing in the India puzzle. We will only get to know when the real Super 8s begin. But gentlemen, we are looking ahead to that big clash, India versus Pakistan. I call it big because every time there is an India-Pakistan match, it is being deemed as the big one.
And there is drama.
From Melbourne to New York, one of the differences that I have found this time around is and Ashok ji, you can tell me whether this is true or not, that fans haven't really turned up in that many numbers. I mean, if you look at the practice match, India practice match, if you have in Australia or if you have any other part of the world, it's back to rafters. But in New York, it hasn't happened. Would you
Does
say
it also have to do with the ticket prices?
Yeah. Would you say it's because ICC hasn't really got, though they have taken the World Cup to a new destination and they're hoping that cricket has many more,
expanding the fan base,
yes,
in a sense,
and also looking at the 2028 Olympic Games.
Correct.
But they really haven't got the strategy right in terms of ticket pricing.
Rika, I think IT companies are just waking up to World Cup, especially the way Oracle went after, so they've woken up. All of a sudden, they've realized that this World Cup is happening. Probably they didn't advertise it correctly, but the fact is, IT companies must not be giving leave to all the expatriates who were working there, so that's why they couldn't. But believe you me, it's going to be a blockbuster. India, Pakistan, it's going to be a full house. So that is the only game we can guarantee the world that this is real blockbuster. This is the game. Whatever, whether Pakistan lose to USA or Timbuktu, it doesn't really matter. India-Pakistan game is a blockbuster, and you'll see crowds flocking for this game.
And the thing is, whoever wins this match, the stocks of Oracle are going to go through the roof, irrespective.
And it is going to be a pivotal game for ICC as well, because this is the biggest advertisement of cricket or T20 cricket, and we will all be counting down to that game. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us.
Thank you.